Introducing the attendance application code review, I use PHP with the help of Laravel framework for backend, and Laravel use MVC architecture here, and the view model controller. And this condition we have it goes on React. That's why we don't have view here anymore. And all thing we have here is our model and control. Then in order to communicate with, for example, React, we need to communicate through API. And for using PHP in our localhost, we need to install Apache server in our computer. I use Laragon program here. Laragon is for Windows, and we can install XAMPP here. Also, XAMPP is for both Macintosh and Windows. Then in order to run the attendance application on Laravel, we have app folder that we have sub programs and also controllers, validations, models, rules, permissions here also. And out of here we have databases that make our database using migration with artisan migrate command line, and make tables on DB and put some fake data on it. For connecting with React and connecting backend and frontend together, we must use some routes to do this. That our route is in a root folder in API file. Here we write all our routes that we take it to the front, and front run that routes for backend. This, for example, this attendance get is our route that address in program to go to the controller attendance and run this method, and before this address is our main address in Apache server. Then using PHP artisan serve, we can run the program on backend application on our localhost. So we have routes here that before this address we can use localhost 8000 or 127.001. If it goes to our website, we can use our domain name service that we can put before this, for the main address. And we can define controllers that each route can access what method in this situation. This is the first part of our application, that we define routes. The routes that here named API resources has all methods inside themselves. Our controllers are in API folder. This is the root of our controllers. For example, this user controller. Yeah, this is a index method, update, show. This is update. This is delete method, and all these are inside the API resource, and they're usually empty. We can define or edit the functions here. We can write our specific data code or edit the code here. And this is our controllers. Here if we want to write a new route, and then get method, we can use get, we can use post, put, patch, delete, or but if we use API resource, we got all these methods inside the API resource. And here you can use this address, for example, all users, from which controller, from user, sorry, but without any bracket. In API resources we must use without bracket. We tell the code that go to user control user, from user controller, go and read all users. From this address we tell it to access all users. If we call this method, this users in front mode, If we use index, we get all users. If we use slash users with the post method in front end, we get some data to it. It is stored on the database. If we use these users with the patch method with one UID, we get a specific data. What's the UID? We have a unique ID that for define for each record here. Laravel defined this for each record. If we use we see our database, attendance, users, see the UID is a specific and unique code for each person for making this program more secureable. That's why we can use this parameter here from for example from user we can define as a user ID. If we take this to code, it know that if the program wants to search for a user, it must return the UID also. They are the parameters that we can use in Laravel for define a unique ID for a person. And also we can use it for many other things. For example, for product, for a bookshop or a online store. Give it a specific ID or unique ID for getting more secureable reason. And for example, this was an example. If we call a controller here, for example this login controller, well, we have a method named login. Inside this login method, we through login request we get data from entry, the data that front end we got from front end. For example, inside this login request, we have these fields. Input these fields: mobile and password. Mobile is required and it must be numeric, and password is required and it must be a password. Password is a Laravel method, and it knows that it is a password. It must be strong. And minimum is 3 letter. For example, if we get it 111, it has an error, and it must be number. And after we this is the validation method. This is the validation that we got this method from the entry, and we use it here. Because we have working with users, we use the user model here, and then check if database is 0. If this database was 0, was empty, then create a user automatically for the first time. For example, we use this username and password, and we can use roles also here, but right now it's not necessary for making roles. And this request validated is gonna be get this request from the previous session and check if it's validated or not. If it's validated, then put the result on the array data. The exit is an array that put it in data, and then we can authenticate the data. In here we can validate the entrance of the user. We can authenticate the user using plain text token. This method, the front end part, take this code and give this code to the front end, and every time the user wants to log in, they use this token for user entry. And after user created and get authenticated, that user gonna have a special token, and this plain text token give us that special token that Laravel make for us, and put it in on data array in token. And we have also name here, for example welcome John, and this array return the name, and this is for the name. And we got the role also for the user, for example if a user is an employer. And finally we have this successful response. If the authentication was successfully, return a message. For example in here we return the data that also is the token and name, and then show a message. And we can handle this in front-end mode. For example, we take this token from the backend, and in front-end we can handle it. If this token was successfully received, we can show the next page to the user. This is for the login request, and show the message and return the value also. If it has error, we can use this error message. This was the whole login controller that handle in a backend. And also we have some other controllers here. For example, in attendance session, we have some session that related to the connected with the machine with the attendance hardware. And for models, for example, in first get all users from the device. In this situation, first get all users from the device with this get method. It gives all the users from the device. Then we can show it all the users at the same time. It can handle on the front end also. And we use in user controller method, we have the list of all users here. And yeah, this method paginate for making pages in exit form. For example, if we have so many records in the one page, we can load 10 records in one page, and other records we can show it on the second page. This method writes on Laravel also. And it's like a lazy show in some other WordPress pages if you see it before. We can handle it, for example, in this situation where we can show records in 10 pages. And we give data here from user model, and then show on exit. In index, this method can manage by front end. For example, if front end wants to show data by the day that they hire in the company, we can handle it from here. If the front end wants data that wants to show on the screen that those users have absent yesterday, we can handle it in this controller. We can make the exit via query and show the in front end. In Laravel we have with method. With method we tell the code that every users have an attendance. It is related one to many. A user can have so many attendance. We can define it with method. For example, I can tell the code that these users that you show me, show also their attendance information. With the with method, we can read more information from database, and it has some other relations also, this method. And then we can paginate the data in other many pages. And this method we use to get information from the device. The device name is zktico. Give data from the device and show it connected to the database. This is the methods for the machine. In zk class, we give an arrow that tell the machine that give all the users, and we can use for each in the user's name, and collect the data on the database. We use this ZTK machine with a LAN cable, and then get data from the from device to database. And I use this package from GitHub, a person that put it on his GitHub. And we use through that package to collect the data from the device. Zktico, yeah. This device connect function tells the machine that every time we wants to give data from the device, we must use this IP address. This is the machine IP address. Then we use the connect command line. We connected the machine, and we must use with this order to connect the device. And when we connect to the device, all the object goes in ZK array. And whenever we use this ZK, we connect it to the device. After we get all users from the device, we can save the data to the database. And for the function, for the update function, this request method update the information from the user previous data, and then update it with the new request data. It finds the users via the specific UID, and then replace with the new one. And this array is the delete method via that UID. And the whole story for controllers are like this. This is the CRUD model: created, read, update, and delete. And every models that I use here using API resource can access the CRUD lines, and in here we didn't access directly through the database. We use the APIs and do these methods to update the database. Before when we want to find or update data on database, we get directly to the database and do our job there. But in nowadays we usually get the required data from database using PHP in backend. For example, with the Laravel query, we took data from database and update the data and send it to the database again. In models, we have more secure queries. We get everything we want from database via this here. For example, in our database, we have a lot of tables here, and we don't have all these databases here. For example, migration, this is the table that Laravel makes this table for us. And when we use Laravel, this migration, we have it here already. Personal access tokens, this is for tokens that we created, and when the user want to log in through the program, field job, or other related databases. Well, attendance, media, shifts, users, roles. These are the tables that we curated ourselves. Role permissions, password tokens, model roles. These are the tables that Laravel makes for us. Inside this model, we have defined our relations. We defined the user with attendance, how many relations it has. One to one, one to many. For example, each user have a lot of attendance. We can predefine the rules also here in models. We have this fillable section that all of our models are here. We can define all the fields that we want to use here in our database. For example, in user database, for example, if we didn't define a specific field here, if we update the database or send or request the data from database, it does not done anything. That's why we must define all fields here from the entry. In attendance model, we have boot also. For example, if we delete a user, it must delete all the information from his or her entrance. From its relations, it done the job. But for sure, we use this method to sure that the program does its job. For example, if user delete, see, this is self-deleting. Tell the user that it must sure that the user is deleted. In Laravel, we tell this function observer. Observer is at the same time updated, created, or done everything. For example, every time I delete a user, go and delete all the records from that user, the entrance, the data. And this is the observer. For example, this carbon method that predefined in Laravel makes our work easier, and it's calculate the time between the entrance and the exit. Carbon tells us that get the output model, then inside the carbon we use define minutes method. For example, in carbon it has create, then we tell it our model output, take the output. Then we are also in carbon use define minutes method. Define minute what? Define minute carbon parse, for example, parse dollar model input. Yeah, the output minus input. We can create the duration using this method. I find this method on Stack Overflow to calculate the employees' hours. And this story of observer. Boot method in models is an observer. In our database, we have factories, migration, and seekers. Migration are all tables. We have with one command line we make our tables here. For example, create a shift table. This is our table's name. For example, shifts. This is the what that Laravel knows. This is the date and create shift, and it is a table. And it gave the shifts for its name. For example, create user table. Laravel knows about these tables. This is, for example, for the Laravel table, field jobs. Create table, and then the name of table in the middle. This is our naming tables in Laravel. For example, inside the table, we can define the table's foreign keys, names. We have shift ID, for example. This is a foreign ID. or device user ID, name, or other our tables names. We define all things, and after we use PHP Artisan migrate, they create the tables immediately. And after we create these tables, we have factories and seeders. We can make some fake data at the first. For example, if the user, if we give it empty database, let's make a fake database from this time to this time. Then we can tell the database to create some fake names or fake times. The database in Laravel have this something like that, automatically can create fake data in the database. And we'll also one more session, folder name HTTP resources. We get in here we can define the result to give the front end. For example, if we call an API, it has a JSON file, and we use that JSON file in here. For example, it's user resources. If we want users, we give you to the front end an array like this, a function like this. And front end knows that these variables are used for a specific task. This is the resource. For example, we have user resource, sheaf resource. We can define what's the name of the sheaf, what's the start time of the sheaf, a static sheaf or a cycle shift. We can name it here, and it has also UID. For example, attendance resources. We can define the attendance times and variables here. Each attendance has a user ID. A user that has a specific ID, and that data that registered on the device, we can define it here also. We use also carbon here. For example, show the time, but use this format. And everything we pass into the front end. The front end can show like this format. In here, we send the data in English format, but in front end, because we want to show to the user as a Persian language, we change it to the Persian data style. And in controllers, in API, in attendance controller, we have index here. We use it here, attendance resources. It goes to the front end and collect all data and show it in front end mode. In here we have make and collection method. If we use collection, we tell that we use all the data